Kane is a New York artist whose small-scale pieces invoke a sense of humor and contained chaos. His use of scale requires close observation, which causes viewers to become intimate and familiar with parts and pieces of his work. His working process includes mindful decisions without analytical thought, combining accident and contradiction to provide a sense of liberation and freedom. By utilizing the seemingly insignificant occurrences of our everyday lives, as well as recycling previous work, Kane has a constant source of inspiration, permitting such a process to flourish. In Recollection, he presents a collection of memories, subtle narrative, and a play on artistic traditions, brought together with visual fragments, language, and the art of the commonplace. Kane's art embraces the reality of life and the value of thoughtful observation as well as relationships. When I first worked with him, I helped him install a gallery show, and he kind of just threw me some lights and said, make a piece. So I knew coming into this, working with him was going to be very relaxed and kind of all over the place, and I'd be making a lot of decisions. So that's really nice because everyone can work on something, but it doesn't have to be all teamed together. It's just always good to talk with Craig as I'm working on the shelves and he's working on his suitcase pieces. Just go over, what are the most interesting pictures and what should we put on the wall that will make it fun and entertaining and energetic. So it's very low-key, very calm, and it's fun to work with him.
One of our graduating seniors, Elise Linwood, asked if she could curate a professional show as a senior project, and I said yes. And so Craig's being here is the result of many, many, many hours of hard work on the part of Elise, who really put the show together, selected the artist, worked with the artist in determining how the show would take place, and took care of all the logistics, the financing, and everything. So it's a lot of work.
How do you feel having a student be your curator? How have you been dealing with that? Because this is the first that we've ever done this. This is the first that we've recorded any of this. So.
Right. Well, it's not just the students, you. So I don't know if it's other students. I don't think you're going to necessarily work the same way. I think that, you seem, whether I don't know if it's true or not, but you seem pretty clear about some of the things that you want to do with the show. So this, I don't have to do that because, like you said, how do you see it? And you say, well, I kind of saw that there and this here and this here. So I think I like it. In this case, Elise told me that there was a few things that she saw either at the spacecraft show or on the website that she wanted in the show, definitely. And so those I put aside, and they have their own little Ziploc bag, or they go in a little box with some, these little, I go to the Japanese 99-cent store in my neighborhood, and I'll buy those little boxes with little squares inside, and so they'll each get packed away in there with a little bubble wrap or foam or something like that. And then, but then I have all this stuff. And I do love, now that I've done it a few times and feel confident that I can do it, just to bring this stuff and say to myself, well, I'm just going to bring the stuff. And it's all going to come together. I'm going to put it together out there. So there's a number of pieces out there that might have some elements from the last show, might not, but they just became a piece boom, all of a sudden, just because I'm here and just because I turned around and I like the way that looks. Or I dug out something I didn't use in a while and said, I wonder if I could put this there with that. So a lot of stuff and some pieces.
As you walk into the gallery, one of the first things on the wall is Craig's first paintings, as he calls them. And these are the paintings that we talked about the most in all of our interviews. Before making these, he threw away a lot of work and just went back to what he knew, which was himself, and created these 3 portraits. And to the side, we have Rainy Day Julian. And if you look into this little box, it's actually a New York cityscape, and it's raining, and his son Julian is looking through the window. It's really, really cool. A lot of people, this is their favorite piece because has so much interaction with the rain and viewing and being a part of the art piece itself. Along the wall is a group of his shadow pieces, a lot of which were recreated for the show because I asked him to bring them. And that's part of being a curator, is you're telling the artist what pieces you want in the show and how you want to see it develop in the gallery space. This piece over here is called The Last Painting. It's one of my favorite pieces from Craig. It actually is representative of one of his last large paintings until he moved on to his smaller pieces, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Its contents are basically just the sign saying the last painting, as well as just little tidbits and pieces of oil paint that were once on a canvas. And it's nice because if you really look into it, you see all the different colors and it becomes the art piece itself. And behind it, we have which is like my second favorite. He took weeks and he just pet his cat and rolled up the fur and then stuck a word on it. And that's basically what Craig does. He just finds things in our everyday life and tries to bring them into the gallery, bring them into a part of a conversation with us. And further past the last painting is kind of what he's been known for, these really, really tiny paintings. If you look, it's only like the size of the top of my finger. The first paintings that we very first looked at, this is what came out of it. And this is a post 9/11 piece. It's called Of Course, and it's got the two twin towers in it. Again, really, really small. So he started with these large pieces that the last painting came from, then threw all that away, made the first paintings, and then out of the first paintings, this has come. Something that's really important to Craig, of course, is his children. And his children play a pretty decent part of his work. Right here we have Julian, which is a tons of little tiny pieces of portraits of Julian's face. Craig said that he did this in order to better understand his son, and through repetition, he wanted to learn who his son was. And another piece that I've grown to love, his son Carrie thought up, and it's over on the opposite side. Carrie loves these really small pieces of green felt, and he told his dad, when you go to San Diego, you should bring this and give a piece to everyone who comes to your show. So that's why it's titled Take One, and Craig really asked for any of the viewers to partake in that engagement with his child and with the show itself. So again, emphasizing the importance of relationships in his work, not only through the work itself, the pieces, but interaction with his children and his life at home into San Diego and our lives as the students who come in.